a Land Rover has been going since 1948, often working in corners of the world to which no other wheeled carriers have penetrated, it is still by far the most versatile and useful vehicle made, and is still in growing demand. It is found in the Sahara and on the North Slope in Alaska. It operates in the darkness of the 24-hour Arctic night and sets out in a red dawn that promises a scorching day in the Australian desert. It finds its way along bush tracks and penetrates the most remote jungles. It climbs mountains as a matter of course on everyday missions. Under a policy of continuous improvement, there is not a single part in this, the first Land Rover built in 1948, that is common to the present model. Everything has been modified and improved in the light of experience, yet nothing has really changed. The Land Rover is still the same chunky, tough, versatile and adaptable workhorse. It has the same quality and the same specialized functions. Of course, today, as an option, you can have its Spartan interior clothed with a deluxe trim. In fact, the word option is the secret, for every Land Rover is built to order. There are hundreds of options, and the owner's preferences are noted when the order is taken. At the factory, these are programmed into a computer, and from this, the various components come together on the production line. Altogether, there are 27 different body styles and 5 different types of engines, giving customers the choice of over 1,500 variants. There are the differences that go with the left or right-hand drive, and there are dozens of extras, according to the choice of the future owner. Each unit has a card which lists the makeup of that individual vehicle. And this moving tray gradually collects all the body bits and pieces that will eventually be assembled and give that Land Rover its particular character. The parts are standardized, but their assembly permits many variations. Even the mating of the axles and the frame member is predestined. It may be a long or short wheelbase. The axles may be specially reinforced, and it may be right or left-hand drive. But all the chassis components will have one thing in common, and that is immense strength. And they're all protected against rust, outside and inside. This stressed Vox girder frame indicates the thinking behind the Land Rover. It's made not only to bear heavy loads, but to stand endless rough and hard going. Engines may be 4-cylinder, diesel or petrol, or 6-cylinder petrol. There is a choice of high or low compression ratios. It all depends on the customer's special requirements. These engines have been developed for the job. They're the result of years of refinement and experience, and are as rugged as everything else about the Land Rover. Steering connections are still split-pinned, and all the components are designed for heavy duty. Throughout the assembly, inspectors are constantly checking, not only to see that the work has been properly done, but that the vehicle is being built to the specifications laid down on its accompanying card. Bodies are made of aluminium. This not only means that they're lighter, but that they won't rust. Built in sections, they're capable of being put together in a large number of different ways, giving many variants on the basic design. Land Rover is driven on Rover's test track. Drivers who are trained to notice the slightest irregularity make sure that each and every Land Rover leaving the factory is up to standard. The high standard Rovers have established over the years. Engines are designed to give high torque at low revs. In other words, plenty of power at low speeds. It's not necessary to race the engine to get over the humps. Together with 8 forward speeds, this means they can cope with any sort of going. Four-wheel drive means you can pull through almost anything, however rough it is. Land Rovers are very tough. There is no chrome trim, no styling gimmicks, no streamlining, and no nonsense. The Land Rover is built to work, to stand any amount of really hard going over terrain that would be impossible for any ordinary utility vehicle. How many safari films have been made based on a Land Rover? They're used in the Swiss Alps to haul logs out of incredibly difficult situations. This is heavy duty. In the Cornish China clay pits, they're extensively used for transporting materials and personnel in and out of the pits. The many types of Land Rover are adaptable to all sorts of applications. They can take a pressure greasing outfit to heavy machinery in otherwise inaccessible sites, thus providing a service facility right on the job. By means of a powered takeoff, the trailer wheels are also driven, thus providing 6-wheel drive. This means that a trailer can be taken into places where normally it would be an embarrassment. When the going gets really rough, it's the extra traction from the trailer axle that makes the difference, giving just that added drive that's needed. It is this ability to have 3 power takeoff points fitted that appeals to specialized equipment manufacturers. In this instance, the power takeoff is driving a 200-amp welding generator, supplying equipment which can be taken right to the job. It can also be used to drive an air compressor located under the rear floor. Yet another possibility is a pump, which, with a tank mounted on the vehicle, provides the basis for crop spraying capability. The same vehicle will treat curbs with weed killer or spray vergers. A most sophisticated use for the vehicle is a hydraulic high-lift platform. This is not only useful for inspecting lab standards, it can be used also in a variety of ways by public authorities or private owners. Controls are in the cradle. advertising is a powerful and highly mobile digger, mounted on a Land Rover and controlled hydraulically by a power source driven from the power takeoff. At times the digger comes up against something a bit too hard even for it to chew. Then use can be made of the hydraulic power source to operate a drill that will break up, in this case, the concrete foundations. Not only can Land Rovers dig the trenches, they're often used by local authorities and public corporations, who find them more versatile for difficult situations than larger, more conventional vehicles. Cable laying is a case in point. Likewise, an articulated version can load a number of heavy poles and take them to places that would be inaccessible for more bulky transport. Well, this can be taken to extremes. Even so, a pole towed on a two-wheel bogey will go almost anywhere. But not only will a Land Rover take a pole to the top of a mountain, it will then turn round and winch it into position. The answer here is again the power takeoff. A Land Rover fire appliance often has a very specialized role. As this fire is in a multi-story car park, a large appliance might well be unable to get there. But the small, handy Land Rover fire engine can easily climb the ramps under the low ceilings and is soon on the job. Similarly, in a modern shopping precinct, a Land Rover ambulance or fire engine can maneuver into situations that would be difficult for a larger vehicle. There's another side to the Land Rover. It is often used for recreation. As a motorized caravan, it'll get you to places that are quite inaccessible to ordinary caravans. And Land Rover clubs exist in many parts of the world. They've evolved competitions which test the vehicle's ability to the utmost. Stripped down, they sometimes have a fairly hairy appearance, or should we say, sporting and dramatic. Despite their appearance, these are all quite normal Land Rovers. The idea is to try and find a hill that is unclimbable. Short of the side of a house, a Land Rover will climb almost anything. The top of this hill must be almost 1 in 2. This part of the competition is not just slogging through thick mud, but having to do so without touching the marker posts, which are not much further apart than the width of the Land Rover. It is not as easy as it looks. But probably the greatest fun is had on the hill climbs. One must obviously look very detached and relaxed, but most competitors have a warm glow of satisfaction when they make a good climb up a hill like this. But all this is background, for a Land Rover is made to work. Whether it is in the copper mines of Jamaica or in a coffee plantation in Ethiopia, you'll find Land Rovers doing their job. To a shepherd in New Zealand, a Land Rover is now often more important than a horse, for it will cover more territory and transport his dogs. The Land Rover is not just a successful production. It is a part of the scene on every continent where there is a tough job for a wheeled vehicle. In Switzerland, the Land Rover not only hauls logs, but collects and delivers the mail, and performs many other functions in that mountainous country. Its presence on industrial sites is taken for granted. It fits into the farming scene as naturally as the plough. It is ubiquitous yet individualistic. Everywhere in the world, its versatility is quite unmatched.